Hello everybody, welcome to Marketplace Connect, live from Buenos Aires. I'm here with David. David, introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm David. I'm the CTO of Restorando.
Awesome. So tell us about Restorando.
Sure, Restorando is the leading marketplace in Latin America for connecting diners and restaurants. So we help people discover dining out experiences, and we empower restaurants to cater to these diners and offer them great benefits, great promotions that are relevant for each of our different markets in the region.
Yeah, and how broad in terms of geography you guys reach?
So we work in 8 Latin American countries. Our main markets are in Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, and Colombia. They are like our top 4 markets.
Gotcha, and how many folks on the platform?
So we have around 1 million page views per month. We have around 120,000 monthly active mobile users. So it's very skewed toward web, but our most frequent usage comes from mobile native customers.
Interesting. Why is it skewed towards web? Is that just a function of where the technology is?
No, it's actually a little bit about, it's related to our customer acquisition costs. It's for us, it's ROI positive to acquire them via web and getting them on the platform through paid search marketing.
Yeah.
And then the challenge is to somehow make them realize that we're just not a platform for reservations, that we allow many more things, and that's when they become users that are much more frequent of our platform. Because the thing that's interesting is Restorando was born as an open table sort of copycat, if you will, in Latin America. Back in the day, our company is 7 years old, and back in the day, that was it was fashionable to start taking ideas that are working somewhere else and putting them in other regions. The land grab movement. And the thing is, Latin Americans, they're not really like the most thorough planners in the world, right? So we go to, most of our reservations happen within the same day or the day before. So reservations themselves, it was not such a big business as is in the US with OpenTable. So we started solving other problems. We started thinking about, before I go to that, just to answer the customer acquisition cost. So we have a very positive ROI when customers are trying to find a restaurant to make a reservation, a concrete reservation, but that problem is a problem they have every time they have their anniversary, right? So it's a once or twice a year problem. So that's when we started thinking about, okay, what other problems can we solve and get customers to use us much more often? And that's when we also realized that finding and discovering new places and breaking the routine and having great new dining experiences is paramount. So if you use Restorando today, you'll find that the product is kind of OpenTable and kind of Yelp. It's like a hybrid. And I think the US here is like no longer standard. If you look at other regions, like in China, you have Meituan, and they have like Zomato in India. They have the Yelp sort of factor of reviews and discovery and information. Then you have reservations, you have delivery, you have payments, you have everything. So I think more and more we're seeing this shift toward really solving the end-to-end of the dining experience, and that changes per region.
Well, so that makes a lot more sense, obviously, because if I go to Yelp and then I got to go to OpenTable and then I got to go to a different payment system. So what was kind of the key insight that made you realize, hey, there is like a life cycle here and these are the 6 or 8 things we want to tackle in the platform? And then second part, like how do you think about that over time? Because that's, that's sort of a big, hairy, audacious goal, if you will, to use good to great terminology. That's like a big strategy.
Yeah, so it's a very good question. Because so what we started seeing was that what the data was telling us. We saw that many customers came and used us, but they didn't make reservations. So there was this weird factor of people using us for something else.
Like searching? Or?
Yeah, searching, browsing, looking at profiles, looking at restaurants, finding out about stuff. So there was also a lot of good responses to our blog and to our... So there was a lot of need for information. So we kind of knew that there was something amiss there. And then when looking at the life cycle, we also saw that many customers, there was a very big bounce rate on some of our most important parts of the platform. So for example, mobile web started taking off, right?
Yeah.
And mobile web and desktop show very different usage behaviors. The customers in mobile web, they look at much less amount of profiles. They land on the profile when they come from Google. In desktop, they browse a lot more. Mm-hmm. So that it all makes sense. But we saw that the bounce rate was much higher in mobile web. And we started looking at our own product, and we thought, okay, we used to optimize for the reservation. So it would be like the first button would say, make a reservation, and then make a reservation everywhere.
Yeah.
And we started thinking, okay, it seems that making a reservation is not what these mobile web customers are really thinking about. So what are they really thinking about? Yeah. And we started talking to them, interviewing them, making surveys. What we started finding out was that they were right then in the street trying to find a place to eat, first and foremost. Like that was the problem, not the reservation. They in fact, they can go and wait in line, and they only wait 10 minutes before they get a table at worst. Because in Latin America, you can get a table almost everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's when we started thinking, okay, if I'm not optimizing for the reservation, what problem should I be optimizing for? And it was, how can I help them make the best decision? So then we started thinking about what is the most important information to make the best decision as quickly as possible. So we shifted around the content, the description, the reviews. We also, for example, we started thinking of what is key to make a decision. One of those things is having the real menu, like the menu of the restaurant and the prices on the plates. So we started focusing on that. We got that information, and then the real price in local currency. No, not a single platform in Latin America, except us, gives the real value, the price per diner in local currency of the restaurant. TripAdvisor offers like they have
the dollar signs.
It's a relative thing.
Yeah.
So there's Google. We thought customers really want to know how much it would cost them.
Yeah.
So we started looking for that information. We started crowdsourcing that information. We started talking to restaurateurs to get that information, and eventually we focused on that.
So just to interrupt, so you optimize it for mobile web, but for web, is it a different experience? Because web, somebody's at home, they're not on the street looking to make a decision. So did you create two different experiences? Like how do you manage those, like the level of insight, which is obviously fairly sophisticated, how do you sort of apply that?
Well, interestingly enough, what happened was mobile web started taking off. Mobile web, past year, beginning of last year, desktop was slightly bigger than mobile web in transactions. But then, as we made these changes and the world changed at the same time, mobile web is now easily 3.5 times bigger than desktop.
Wow.
So what ended up happening is we just stopped prioritizing it that much, and it's still there. We change it slowly, whenever we have time. But in reality, it's more like, hey, we have to be a mobile company, and it's not that we want to. It's just we have to.
That's where the world is. So you're obviously an analytical, kind of critical thinking focused company. How else does that apply? And I'm kind of interested initially in the acquisition side, like. How do you think about CAC versus LTV? And we've talked before about that. Kind of walk me through some of the way you guys think about that.
Well, we have a specialized team working on paid marketing. Google is by far the where we spend the most.
So pay-per-click, basically.
Pay-per-click.
Someone's Googling restaurants in Palermo and.
So the most common way people find us via paid channels is through direct search of restaurants, specific restaurant names. So that's why we also try to get like the bigger names of the local culinary cuisine scene. I mean, we have to get them because they are anchors for the marketplace.
Gotcha.
So we strive to make sure that our customer acquisition cost is always ROI positive. And this has not always been the case. Like we learned a big lesson 3 years ago when we thought we could keep growing with paid marketing.
Just throwing a bunch of money in it.
Just throwing in money and wow, look at us grow. And once we said, hey, we're running out of money very, very fast, we stopped it and all the reservations went down. So we thought, okay, so how do we start building a habit of using us, of going out to dinner and stuff. But going back to the question, LTV and CAC, for us, the lifetime value, if you measure the lifetime value per different platforms, we see that on mobile native, the lifetime value is 3 times bigger than on web. And we were wondering, why is this? Now, in web, when customers do a direct search, they reach the profile view of the restaurant. So they see the restaurant itself. Anchor restaurants are restaurants with a lot of demand. So they do not offer a lot of discounts usually. So what happens is the customers from web, they land on this profile, they see that they can make a reservation, they need to make the reservation, they just make it, it's over, you get, like Samir was telling me, it's super easy, you get the, hey, here's your reservation, and since we always focused on transactional revenue, we always made sure that was like streamlined. The problem was, the customer never knew anything else about the platform. Like they don't know how it works, that we allow other merchants to create discounts on the fly and so forth and so on. So when we started looking at how mobile native works, we said, okay, first you open the app and it suddenly offers you the home. The home view has local information, it has great discounts, it has all sorts of collections, tourism. We actually asked, here's another interesting thing, is we thought that most of our mobile native customers came from having used us in the web, thinking it was a good offering, and then downloading the app. So we asked the guys that downloaded the app in the recent months, we asked them, hey, well, back then, right? Why did you download the app? And I mean, sorry, have you used Restorando before? 65% did not use Restorando before. So I asked them, why did you download it? And apparently it's word of mouth. It's that customers are telling other customers how it actually works for them, and they are using it. So now, going back to CAC and LTV, we have a customer acquisition cost that is as low as we can get for solving the I need to make a reservation problem. And then we need to transfer, migrate, or convert those customers into a mobile native user so that they solve the different problem, which is if I don't know where to go to eat, now I will use Restorando. And that's and just to summarize, I think knowing what problem the customer is solving and how it's solving it through your platform is fundamental, and it's something that is not intuitive, it's not obvious. It took us a lot of research to find this out.
So in a lot of the businesses I talk to, companies talk about a magic moment. Is there, in that conversion from I've used the app one time to, I'm a lifetime customer, is there a number of reservations I need to make that in your mind solidifies the customer's position as a secure customer or a lifetime customer? So actually reservations themselves are not. We try to look at it through thousands of ways, and that's actually, I think, one of the reasons why at Restorando it took us so long to realize the aha moment. Because if you look just at reservations, there was no discernible pattern. Some people make lots of reservations, some people don't. There wasn't a clear number after which retention grew, so it was very weird. And that's, of course, now it makes sense, right? The problem of I need to make a reservation is not such a big problem. So therefore there's no retention. But, so in Buenos Aires at least, discounts are very big. So everybody goes out with a discounted dinner. Restaurants are okay and they're used to offering discounts. So that's a very normal thing because inflation is so big that people usually do not pay full price for almost anything. So once we started looking at discounts and we said, okay, is retention related to discounts? What we saw was amazing. So the people from mobile web that actually make a reservation, their first reservation with discount is around 31%. So it's like 1 in 3.
And as you see their nth reservation, as you see how they make more and more reservations, by around the fifth or the sixth, the rate is around 70%.
Wow.
So it just grows. So basically what it means is that the customers that eventually keep using us are the ones that discovered the discount in the first
That's
try.
what they value.
And if you go to mobile native, if you go to Android and iOS and you see how that works, you would also expect that it grows.
Yeah.
But it's not true. What happens is customers in mobile native, they already start using the discounts. 61% of our Android users have a first reservation with discount, and the number stays flat.
Interesting.
So it's crazy. So it's super. So the aha moment for us is making a second reservation. Oh, and then we looked at time. So when you make an additional reservation, how long does it take?
Yeah.
And what we saw, even though our frequency, if you look at it in the big, broadest sense, our frequency is very, very, very low. Like, grab all the customers, they see, okay, how many times did they make a reservation? You see that it's mostly like 3.5 to 4 a year. So that's like once every 3 months. If you
And how often do you believe, or what does the data show, these people are going out to eat?
Oh, once a week.
Once a week, okay.
So it's like 4 times a year, once a week. It makes no sense.
Yep.
So it's like, what? I don't know. It's 40 to 50, 10x.
Yeah.
So what we thought was, okay, if you look at it that way, then clearly customers, I mean, you would think, okay, customers take 3 months, every 3 months they come back and make a reservation. Clearly that's not the right thinking, but you would think that it should be around that time.
Yeah.
So when we went and looked at the mean average, the average of how many days does it take between one reservation and the other, we found that the average was 30 days. Okay, so it's different.
Yeah.
But then we thought, how many people make the additional reservation within 30 days or less?
Yeah.
Even though the average is 30. And what we realized was that 70% of people make the second reservation within the first 30 days. So the average is 30, but 70% comes in 30 days. So eventually, and when you look at it with discount, it's even higher. So getting the customers to do the second reservation with a discount within the first 30 days is our aha moment. And that's what we need to focus on.
Nice.
And that's actually an ongoing challenge. We've tried different things, but it's tough. It's tougher than what it looks like. However, next quarter, I think we will have something in store that might work much better. But anyways, that's what we're working on.
And then last question, because you're in all of these different geos, talk for a minute about how some of your strategies and tactics and thinking differ. For example, discounts aren't applicable in other countries.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what we see in Latin America is that countries that have either they have a lot of internet penetration, and big players like Groupon existed in those countries many years ago, or if they have high inflation and prices are always changing, they tend to be okay with discounts, and they value discounts, they hunt for discounts, and they offer discounts. So Brazil and Argentina are two very good examples. But in other countries where they are either more stable or internet penetration was later, discounts are absolutely not acceptable.
Wow.
In Mexico and Colombia, for example, most customers that go out to dinner, so one of the differences is in Buenos Aires, around 80% of people go to dinner as a couple, and those dinners are usually casual dinners, like they just go out to have a little bit of time for themselves. If you go to Mexico, the average party size of going out is like 4.5. So basically, those are just families going out for breakfast or for lunch, and in Mexico and in Colombia mainly, customers are really averse to using or claiming for a discount because it makes when they go out to like to be in a, it's like a celebration. It's something very special. It's not like something you do every day. And asking for a discount might even look a little bit bad. And for restaurants, it's absolutely no. If they offer a discount, it makes them look much worse than their competitors. So exactly, that's one of the challenges. Okay, so what do they value? What do they need? How do you solve that marketplace? What are the different problems that are preventing them from connecting each other? So I think one of the biggest lessons is when I say we are the biggest marketplace in LATAM, LATAM
It's
doesn't
not
exist.
one region, yeah.
It's many different
Yeah.
countries. Are you really the
Interesting.
best in Argentina and in
Yeah.
Mexico, and how? So I think that's one of the key lessons that we learned in the past couple of years.
Nice.
So yeah.
And last question, what does the future hold?
So the future, what does it hold? I think the Chinese are really showing what the future will look like
Interesting.
right now. I do not believe that within the next year we will not be paying from our mobile phones.
Interesting.
Actually, that's interesting too, because within within the restaurant today, there's a lot of friction from the restaurant owner in having credit cards taken to and fro from the cashier. It takes a while, it takes time. So online mobile payments will be huge.
Yeah.
And I think it will take off even faster than what it has in the US.
Really?
Yeah, because in the US, I think Americans have, I don't know,
Multiple payments.
it's
all it's fractionalized.
I think it's like the Yelp and Open Table piece.
Yeah.
You guys learned that. But here, most people haven't learned any of it. So it's a green field.
Yeah.
So I think the future will be that. I think the future will be paying from the mobile phone, or pre-ordering your food, making reservations, finding reviews, and actually delivery, all from the same application. So at least for Restorando, I think payments might be like a very good, solid next step for us. And I will at least push for it to be priority within Q3 or Q4, hopefully. If we don't do it, somebody else will do it. So
there you go. David, appreciate your time.
thank you very much. I hope it was useful.
It was very informative.